Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to From the Shed End. Welcome back to the live stream. Pre-match kickoff. Chelsea versus Djurgården 4-1 on aggregate. Road to the final of the Conference League. We are not Arsenal Football Club. We do not lose semi-finals. We are going to win convincingly tonight against Djurgården. We have to win against them convincingly as well. I don't think we can afford to lose it. Before we get into the stream, this is an opportunity for people to join the live stream, get involved in the chat, come on and have your say. This is a have your say watch along, possibly. Or is it going to be a watch along? I don't think it is going to be a watch along tonight, actually, to be fair. But it is your opportunity before kickoff to have your say. So if you want to come on the channel, want to share your thoughts, have your say, all that stuff, then I'm going to drop the link into the chat very soon. As you can see, our team lineup is there. So we've got Jurgensen in goal, Malo Gusto, Tosin Adebayo, Badia Shill, Kokorea, Reece James, Josh Ashiempong, Walsh, Dewsbury Hall, and Jaden Sancho. I feel like we're missing someone off here. I feel like there's someone missing. Tariq George. Is Tariq George not playing? I feel like Tariq George should be playing as well. There we go. Tariq George as well. How we missed him off. But yeah, Tariq George will be playing as well. I'm trying to work out the lineup here. I'm trying to work out what lineup we're going to go with because it's very odd. Obviously, the bench, we've got Bergstrom, Sanchez, Antwi, Chalobah, Levi Colwell, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Noni Madueke, Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, and Moheka make up the subs bench. What formation are we going with tonight? That is the key question. What sort of formation has Enzo gone with? I'm surprised at Enzo. Kokorea, I think, could be rested, if I'm honest. Do we honestly need to have him in? I don't think we do, if I'm honest. Amir, Conference League trophy, here we come. I agree. I think we're going to have to see the Conference League trophy at Stamford Bridge, aren't we? We are not Arsenal Football Club. We do not lose semi-finals. But what lineup are we going here? I'm trying to work it out. So I'm sure we'll have Achiempong, I'm sure, on the right with Tosin, Badia Shill. What are we doing here? Back five? Reece James right centre back? Achiempong on the right. Because we're playing Kokorea, Gusto, and Reece James. So unless Reece James is going to drop into the midfield, Tosin and Badia Shill will be centre backs. You'll have Gusto, Kokorea, Reece James. But then where's Achiempong playing then? I don't understand this. Yeah, 4-2-3-1, but who's where? I get it, 4-2-3-1, but we've got Gusto, Reece James, and Achiempong. All three of them are right backs. So Reece James will be in the midfield. We're playing Cucurella, so Gusto can't be playing on the left side. So who's playing? It's not mathing. The maths ain't mathing. It's not mathing at all. I don't get what we're doing, but let's hope the gaffer knows what he's doing. That's the main thing, isn't it? The gaffer, we've got to back Enzo Maresca tonight. We've got to give him the opportunity to showcase what he wants us to do in this game. I kind of get why he's gone with this lineup, but with a big game against Newcastle coming up on Sunday, 12 p.m., I'm questioning whether we actually need to. I mean, I had Reece James in my predicted lineup, but Cucurella, I would have rested him. Everyone else I would have started apart from Cucurella. I think you can't really afford to lose Cucurella in games like this. I think it's yeah, you just don't want to lose key players at this particular moment in the season. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna drop that in the chat now, so you'll be able to see if you want to jump online, you want to jump into the chat, have a conversation before kickoff. We are not that long away now from kickoff. 41 minutes away, just approximately 41 minutes away from kickoff. So if you want to get involved, the link is there. Make sure if you're gonna come on. Amir here, you're saying Gusto right back, Reece James is playing in the CDM. Yep, I get that. Where's Ashimpong playing? Because Cucurella is starting as well. So that's what I'm trying to say. We've got Achiempong playing as well with Cucurella. So Cucurella is going to play on the left as left back. Gusto will be right back. Where's Achiempong? Is he playing right centre back? Is he playing in the midfield? Is he playing as a winger? It's not making sense. Not making sense at all. Um, Question for everyone though: if we don't win the Conference League, if we don't win this outright, if we get through tonight, we're 4-1 up. We should beat Djurgården. We should beat them convincingly. But if we don't win the Conference League and we come up against Real Betis, so I think our 2-1 up against Fiorentina from the first leg. If we don't win, if we don't beat Fiorentina or Real Betis in the final, and we miss out on top four, what does that mean for our season? What does it mean for the season? That's what I want to know. Um, Yeah, what does it mean? I don't think we'll struggle tonight. I think the lineup tells you that we've clearly gone with a very strong lineup. Um, I tell you what, one thing I haven't said, I think it needs to be said. Walsh, really, really happy to see Walsh get his first start for the club. I think he came on in the first leg of this fixture. I think he nearly scored from his first shot, if I remember correctly, in the game in Sweden. But good to see him start. Tariq George gets more minutes. Impressed with him so far this season. Dewsbury Hall, another one we thought was going to play a role tonight, but I'm mindful that Enzo Maresca is risking Cucurella when you have Gusto that can play on the left side. You could play Achiampong as a right back. You don't need to really. I don't understand the thinking of playing Cucurella in this game. For me, it's a bit of a risk. I'm going to be honest. I think if you wanted to, I don't know, if you wanted to experiment, even Reece James. So that kind of tells me Reece James will not be featuring against Newcastle because he won't be playing tonight, Thursday. We'll be flying back tomorrow, or even tonight, I should say, maybe tomorrow. There'll probably be no training, or it'll be a light training session tomorrow. There'll be a training session on Saturday. Um, and then the game's at 12 o'clock on Sunday. So I don't think Reece James is gonna start on Sunday. I just don't see that happening. I don't see him becoming a part of Maresca's lineup on Sunday. But that game's more crucial than tonight. That game is actually absolutely massive. We can't afford to lose to Newcastle. So tonight is really just seeing the game through, seeing it out, getting the second win. I mean, the unthinkable could happen. The unthinkable did. I mean, no one thought Legia Warsaw were going to come to Stamford Bridge and score 2 goals. Um, I feel like Maresca's gone very, very. From looking at the lineup, and I'm still trying to work it out, like where's who and who's where. But looking at the lineup, I would say that he's gone very defensive. Not because I think he's mindful that we might lose the game, but I think he's thinking, Sancho needs a couple of minutes. He needs to impress the team. Um, no, Christopher Nkunku actually. No, Christopher Nkunku. Interesting. Let's check if he's injured. Let's see what Maresca's been saying. That's really, really interesting because I think Nkunku, has he played his last game for the club? Really interesting. Gusto's 50th appearance tonight as well in a Chelsea shirt. Reece James captain. Um, Expected to play midfield with Kiernan Dewsbury Hall possibly operating as a more advanced role. Tariq George and Jadon Sancho are the other attacking players. No mention of Christopher Nkunku. Very, very, very interesting because you would have thought this is a game, almost a dead rubber. You would potentially put Christopher Nkunku in the team, whether he stays at the club or he goes or he moves on. You would expect to just give him minutes and rest. I don't know, Sancho. I don't know. It's just you'd give him minutes in this game, surely, or at least have him on the bench, unless he's injured, which is a big possibility. But yeah, Reggie Walsh. Really, really impressed for him. Glad 16 years of age, doing well. Could he get on the score sheet tonight? Maresca's gone on to say basically that, um, he's a talented technical, he's fantastic. I really like him. Between the lines, you can see immediately that he has something about him. He's only 16, so he needs to work hard. He needs to continue. I like his personality. He's worked with us during the season and he's not shy. He's always asking for the ball. He's shouting, he's talking. I like him. He's a good player. It's really good when your manager has that level of confidence in you to be able to pick you in the game. Although it's a dead rubber, he's picked him in this game. He obviously wants him to do well. You know, don't forget the chat is there. Don't forget if you're here as part of the live stream, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. Um, about 35 minutes away from kickoff. We will be live streaming till just before kickoff. So if you're wanting to get on, if you want to be part of this live stream, the link is in the chat. Make sure you hit the link. I'll get notification that you're trying to join. You can have your say on the shed end and share your thoughts. It doesn't even have to be about tonight. It could be about anything. It could be about Sunday, Newcastle. Could be about the next 3 Premier League games. Do we make top four? The stadium talk. Apparently, 2042 is when we'll find out about our stadium plans. Mental. Yeah, there's loads going on at Chelsea at the moment. So if you want to get involved in the chat, you want to get on the live stream, yeah, just let me know. Achiempong and James are both playing the CDMs. Walsh, yeah, this is what it has to be. But again, what I don't like is not that he's shoehorning players in. Achiempong can play in a defensive midfielder, but we know where his strengths are. We know his strengths is at right back. Why not play him? We could play Amagu. I mean, Amagu surely is in the squad still. He was part of the Conference League squad. So why aren't we playing Amagu? Why not start Amagu instead of Achiempong? Put Achiempong at right back. Um, two makeshift right backs. You know, they're right backs by nature, by trade, and you're playing them as makeshift centered defensive midfielders. That doesn't make any sense to me. Interesting to see Tariq George actually as a striker because I like him off the wing. I like him off the left. I think he's a good player to cut in, to take on his defenders, take on the right back or the left back, and manipulate the space in front of him. And he does that really, really well. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see if he gets the service tonight. He should, because Keenan Dewsbury Hall, if he's playing in that sort of 10 role, which I think he will be, he'll have Tariq George as a striker, Walsh, Sancho, hopefully delivering them balls into him as well. But yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting. Maresca's full of surprises. This one doesn't disappoint again. This one does not disappoint again. Um, I feel like this is a big game for Jurgensen as well. I do think this is a massive game for Jurgensen because I think we know Petrovic has had a really good season. He's been nominated for the French goalkeeper of the season. We know he's going to come back at some point to Chelsea's. I don't think he'll go on loan next season. It will be the likes of Jurgensen or potentially Robert Sanchez that will go out in the next season. So this is an opportunity for Jurgensen to be composed in the goal. He obviously let that goal in last week in Sweden, but he has to put in a good performance tonight. The worst thing he can do is let two, maybe three goals in, and then it's squeaky bum time for I don't know second half of the game tonight. He has to put in a really good performance. But as I said, Maresco looks like he's gone very defensively. My worry now is the midfield. My worry now is that midfield because, like I said, putting Achiempong in there is I mean, he's very calm on the ball. But you've got Reece James there, and I just don't think having the two of them together. Now, if you had Enzo or you had Enzo, Achiempong, Caicedo, James, Dewsbury Hall, James, I would get it. But to have Achiempong and Reece James in that midfield, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I could show my face for a good week or so, maybe two, if we don't win this game tonight. And I don't mean even if we go through, I still want us to win this game. We can't lose like 1-0, 2-0 like Legia Warsaw. We have to still put in a performance. And some of these players, like I said, the Badia Shields, maybe even Tossen, Dewsbury Hall, Jadon Sancho, even Reece James to an extent. I know there's been talk about him potentially going to Barcelona. Jurgensen, Gusto, they're all playing for their places. They're all playing for literally playing for their places right now. So if they're going to do anything, if they're going to do anything, they have to play well tonight. They have to play well tonight. Rich money makers, big up the legend. Thank you for tuning in. I must be your lucky charm because every time I come on the chat, we win the Premier League. Make sure you're here on Saturday or Sunday. We're going to do another live stream. I want you here because we have to beat Newcastle. Good to have you in the building as always. I didn't see Jurgensen. Thank God Sanchez isn't the one who's starting for us. He always starts the cup games, Jurgensen. I do prefer Jurgensen um, over Sanchez. I think Sanchez is a liability. I think he's putting some really good performances over against Everton, against Fulham, against Liverpool. But if you're talking about those 3 games over the period of the season that Sanchez has had, it's a very small sample to be congratulating him on. So, for me, Jurgensen is the goalkeeper that has to put in that performance. Like I said, last week, he let that goal in. It was harsh on him because I thought he had a really good game. Didn't have much to do, but when he was called upon, he should have saved that. But we're at Stamford Bridge. We're 1 foot away. I'm going to say it again. We are not Arsenal Football Club. We do not lose semi-finals of late. So we need to make sure that we are on our game today. If we're not, I don't want to see I don't want to see Jurgen 3-0, 2-1, 2-0. This has to be a proper controlled possession-based game for us. Has to be. Has to be. It has to be. Of course it does. But yeah, Roman Abramovich, of course, big him up all the time, every time. Um, really, really harsh on Roman. We did it. If you haven't already, go and check one of the videos. I think it's probably about 2 or 3, maybe 4 videos ago. We spoke about Roman in depth. The money's still within the government, UK bank somewhere, collecting loads of interest for the UK government. So read into that what you will. Surely if it was to aid those victims of Ukraine, Russia, whatever, that money would have been sent the next day when they made the sale, but it still sat there free nearly 4 years later in a bank somewhere in London, collecting lovely amounts of interest every single day. So yeah, big up Roman Abramovich every single time. Not long now, 30 minutes to go till kickoff. As I said, if you want to get involved, hit the chat. The link's there as well. If you want to join the live stream, you can join the live stream with me for 30 minutes or so and get involved with the chat. Have your say, not just on tonight's game, but on Chelsea as a whole. Um, like I said, the stadium talks, I don't actually have them to hand, but from what I was reading this week, the stadium plans, Todd Bowley came out and said that this is a long, drawn out process for the stadium, the redevelopment of Stamford Bridge or moving to Earl's Court, somewhere else. Um, Apparently, it's a long, drawn out process, and we're going to have to wait potentially until 2042 until we even see a new Chelsea stadium. So I don't know. Hopefully, by the time we have a new stadium, Todd Bowley is not in charge of this whole circus that is running over the club right now. It's absolutely mental. All these players will play good tonight because there is good momentum around the club, according to my sources. Yes, we might go for experienced free agents, especially to have a chance at Club World Cup. Well, one of my sources said that potentially, Kevin De Bruyne might be coming back to the club. I've heard that one. And even closer to that, I've heard that we're trying to bring Rudiger back to the club from Real Madrid. Now, however true that is, I don't know. That source is a bit shaky, but the Kevin De Bruyne one is a fact. The fact we even tried to get Virgil van Dijk tells you that the approach now is that we need that experience. And I think it's a thing that Maresca's come out and said before. If you listen to his press conferences, he's always said that we've got a young squad, um, which is not he's not against at all. But I think he clearly understands that we need experience in there as well, especially if we make the Champions League. We can't walk. I've said it on here before. I'm going to say it again. We can't walk into the Champions League with the squad that we have. We just can't. It would be stupid. It would be criminal to walk into the Champions League with the squad that we have. Would be absolutely stupid. So if we don't bring in some experience, then what's the point being in the Champions League? We'll end up like Arsenal, like Lee Gunner doing 12, 13, 15 hour streams up from his desk in Spain somewhere, 13-hour streams. What was Lee Gunner thinking? Yeah, we just need to bring in some experienced players. But going back to tonight's lineup, I think this is a massive game for Reece James. I think it's a massive game for him because I don't know whether Reece James has maybe put out there that he only wants to play one game a week. Maybe that's a deal that he struck up with the manager that, I can only play one game a week. I remember Ledley King was the same for Tottenham. He could only play one game a week. He wasn't even training at one point. I think he was just doing swimming and light training sessions because of his knees at Spurs. This could be the same for Reece James. I worry about him because he has to get into a routine where he can play 2 or 3 games, especially if we make the Champions League. These bunch of players, which is why I'm so glad we're in the Conference League, I'll be honest. But these bunch of players have to get used to playing 2, maybe 3 games a week. We've had to adjust to playing on a Thursday night, Sunday. They have to climatize now to potentially playing on a Tuesday, Wednesday, then playing on a Saturday, then playing on a Tuesday. We have to do that. And we need players like Reece James to be able to step up. He's probably the most experienced in terms of leadership alongside the likes of Tosin in our squad. So we have to make sure that yeah, that we, that we bring some experience into the squad, going into the Champions League. This season, a lot of these players would have never played European football before. And I don't mean domestically, I'm talking in like a Europa League, Champions League, Conference League environment. Half of these players would never have done that. So testing your toe and dipping your toe in the water, playing at the Conference League level is probably one thing, but it's a massive step up, as we know already. 2 times Champions League winners. We know how hard it is. We watched Barcelona and Inter Milan fight it out, pound for pound. We saw PSG turn Arsenal a new arsehole, tear them a new arsehole yesterday. So we know it's going to be difficult going into the Champions League if we make it. So we need to bring some experience in. But Reece James has to keep himself fit to be in order to be part of that Champions League squad. Rich Money Makers is saying here, don't listen to stadium plans. There's a lot going on in the background. The sporting directors want young, and our coach Todd wants more experienced players. But Todd's the guy. Todd is the one. Remember, Todd's the guy at the top. So if if Bowley wants to bring experienced players in, and your SD is saying actually we need to bring young players in, then that tells you that the SD, the sporting director, has to go. It has to go. Can you imagine? We nearly had Campos and Luis Enrique as our manager. We had one of the best combinations that we would have had. And look what Campos has done at PSG with the youngsters that he's brought through. Look at what Luis Enrique's done with the squad that he's got. Um, to me, I mean, yeah, you need to bring in some young players. Of course you do. We've got some really good, talented players there, but you can't just have young players in a squad and expect them to go into the Champions League. Can you imagine that squad we've got now? Can you imagine this lineup playing against, I'm going to say someone like, I don't know, Real Madrid, PSG, or even actually scrap that. Imagine our strongest 11. Think of our strongest 11 as it is right now. Can you imagine that team going up against the PSG or the Barcelona team that was unfortunate to go out, or Inter Milan? Like, imagine that. Like, we've got to bring the experience in now. We can't afford to not have the experienced players in the team. The Swedish team has weak goalkeeper again, so that's good news for us. Yeah, isn't that? I think they've got a couple of injuries as well. I'm pretty sure. Josh in midfield will be okay. We have experience in our defense. I agree. But looking back to previous games, we've had the same defense, the same experienced defenders in that team, and we've still leaked goals this season. So whilst like I said, my worry is that you've got Josh Ashiempong, who for me, I prefer him at right back, play him as a right back. I'd have I'd have Gusto maybe on the left side of the defense. I would not be starting Mark Cucurella in this team tonight. He just doesn't need to. It's a game that is we're 4-1 up. We're 4-1 up. This is pointless playing him. Why are we playing him? Now, if Mark Cucurella gets injured, which hopefully he doesn't, but if he does get injured, we've got 3 cup finals coming up: Newcastle, Manchester United, Nottingham Forest. in the space of 2 weeks. If he gets injured, who's playing? Who's playing? And he's been instrumental to our season. Who's playing left back? Why are we starting Cucurella knowing that we're 4-1 up? We could put Gusto on the left. We could put Achimpong in the right. We could put Keenan Dewsbury Hall in the midfield with Reece James. Doesn't make any sense to me. Sporting directors are starting to lose their power because of the recruitment mistakes they've made. 100% they have to. I said on here last time, I think Rich Moneymaker was here. Why have we got two sporting directors and neither of them are competent enough to do the job that they're employed and getting paid to do? This is bonkers. Any other job, you'd be getting sacked for the amount of wrongdoings you've done at the club. It just wouldn't happen. Just would not happen. Um, we shouldn't rely on them though. We do have very good subs on the bench, but we should not be relying on them. We should not be. This is a game, and I'm going to go back to the lineup. So this is a game where we've got Bergstrom, Sanchez, Antwi, Chalobah, Colwell, Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Noni Madweki, Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, and Jackson. That is pretty much the squad that is starting on Sunday against Newcastle. So yes, you want to give them a little run out tonight, 10, 15 minutes, but there should never be a situation tonight where we're 3-0 down and we're having to bring on the big boys. Should never happen. It won't happen. If it happens, then I want Maresca sacked tonight because we should not be needing to call on any of these players. The players I would like to see come on is Moheka, Antwi, and maybe Jackson actually, maybe Nicholas Jackson, just because one, I think he needs. Obviously, he's been out for an injury. He needs to get some more time in. Antwi because he's a youngster, and Moheka again because he's a youngster. But again, Amagu, where's Amagu? Amagu potentially should be on the bench here. I'm sure he was part of the last. I'm sure he was added into the squad. So where is he? Mental. 20 minutes to go. Just about kick off soon. Let's get some predictions in. If you're in here, make sure you give it a prediction. Um, I think I said, I think I said 3-0 yesterday on the podcast. I think I said 3-0 to Chelsea. I'm going to stick with 3-0. I think we'll win 3-0. I think it'd be convincing. Like Rich Moneymaker said in the chat, we have got a really good, strong defensive line tonight. My worry is the midfield. It's a inexperienced front three of Reggie Walsh, Sancho, and Tariq George. But at Stamford Bridge, I expect nothing but a win and a convincing win. 70, maybe 80% possession of the ball. I need to see. I need to see what these players can do. Um, I really do. Our coach has started changing his tactics in the last few games, and we're not playing so much out from the back. I agree. I agree. I noticed that from the Everton game. I noticed that from the Everton game. We were just long balling it, but it was working. And sometimes I think, look, this is what I called for. I said this about Maresca probably just after Christmas or before Christmas. I said we should even be thinking about going to a back three. I've noticed now, even though we're inverting the fullbacks, we're still allowing space down the side of the pitches, down the wider areas, the flanks of the pitch for Madweki or Sancho or whoever's on the wide areas. It's almost allowing a bit of freedom for them to support um, in those attacking areas a bit more because we've got the freedom of our fullbacks pushing higher up the pitch as well. Um, but yeah, this is honestly this is something that Maresca cannot get wrong today. So yes, he's changing the tactics, but he also needs to apply that with the correct players on the pitch for me anyway. And I wouldn't personally have Cucurella starting. I wouldn't have Achi and Pong in the midfield. I potentially would have maybe I'm sure Amagu. I mean Amagu again. This is where's Raksaki as well. Like all these players that played in the first rounds, and I know that you don't want to be very complacent and you lose the game 4-0, which could happen, but I doubt will happen tonight. But you don't want to we don't need the bench that we've got tonight. I really don't. This is a night where I'm expecting to see Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, not even in their kits in the match day squad. They'll be sat behind the dugout, just watching on their phones. It's one of those games tonight. Why have we got like a full bench of like first team players against the team when we're 4-1 up? It's just mental. It is mental. Yeah, exactly. The hate watch yesterday was amazing. I'll be honest. I haven't watched the game and been able to banter so many Arsenal fans straight after. And the worst thing was, Arteta thinks he played well. His team played well for 2 legs against PSG. I don't know what he's drinking or smoking, but send it my way because I probably could do with some. But yeah, I'm glad that Maresca's changing his tactics. I'm glad he's realised, he was very stubborn at the start of the season. He's almost coming out and saying to Jurgensen or Sanchez, if you don't play it from the back, you're going to get dropped. And that was never going to work because that none of them are good with their distribution from the back, playing out from the back. So sometimes you have to go long. And I think even when you do that, and you've got someone like Lavia who's very controlling, Caicedo very controlling in that midfield, it just works because as long as they receive the ball in the right area of the pitch, they can make something happen in that. We've got to see it with Cole Palmer against Liverpool. Lavia receives the ball, frees it up to Palmer, Palmer down to Pedro Neto, Enzo scores the goal early on in the game. So that's just quick counter-attacking long ball football. Quick bang, halfway line, straight in. Playing out from the back when you've got Badia Shield, you've got Tosin, you've got Colwell. I won't put Chalobah in that conversation because I think he's been our best centre back. But you've got all these players that aren't good playing out from the back. So you are going to concede so many goals. So yeah, Maresca had to change something because if we don't make top four, and I've said it again, I'm going to say it on here again. If we don't make top four and we do not, because let's not forget, even if we win tonight, we have a big, big challenge against Fiorentina or Real Betis, and that is not an easy game. That is not an easy game. So, yes, we are the favourites to win it, but it's not an easy game. In fact, it's far from an easy game because when you go into a final, and like I said before, a lot of these players are inexperienced. They're inexperienced being in that environment of it's a must-win game. There isn't a second chance. You don't get a point if you draw. You don't win anything. You go home empty-handed. A lot of these players, apart from the likes of James and all the rest of it, but a lot of them are inexperienced. Now I'm looking at the likes of Cucurella, who's won stuff, Reece James, who's won stuff. I think Sancho's won stuff with United and Dortmund. Dewsbury Hall, I think, won the FA Cup with Leicester. You're looking like Achiempong George. I don't know about Badia Shield. Tosson, I don't think's won anything. Can't say anything about Malo Gusto. Sanchez, I don't think has won anything. Has Nicholas Jackson won anything? And Kunku, I'm not sure has won any. So all these players are just not. You go into that final, and it's listen, it's not a foregone conclusion that they're just going to walk into that game if we make the final, which we should. It's not just a foregone conclusion that we're just going to win it and that's it. Ain't going to happen. Isn't going to happen at all. I think we need to see out tonight, see it out, and then we need to prepare for the final. We really do. Just prepare for the final. We'll have 4 cup finals then. We'll have Newcastle, Man United, Nottingham Forest, and Real Betis or Fiorentina. But we have to be prepared. And this is why, even like tonight, imagine Cucurella picks up a season-ending injury tonight. It's just pointless playing him. Why would you play Cucurella in a game when there's so much at stake in the Premier League on Sunday? A 12 p.m. kickoff as well. So the likelihood for me is that Cucurella plays 45 minutes tonight. He probably plays 45 minutes. You probably put Gusto to the left. You put Achi and Pong maybe to the right. You bring on Enzo. Enzo will go into the midfield. James comes off. You maybe bring on Caicedo. Um, yeah, I think Jackson has to get some minutes tonight as well, but that's only because they're on the bench. I would personally, I would have had a youthful bench tonight, but they're on the bench. You want to use some of them. Maybe you give Cole Palmer after the penalty. You give him a bit more so we can keep that confidence good, the momentum going from the penalty that he scored. But very good point. Who do I want in the final? It's tough. I mean, they're both tough. I mean, Real Betis have played well this season. Fiorentina have played well. Enzo Maresca used to play for Fiorentina, so there'll be a bit more. It'll mean a bit more to him, I think, if he gets Fiorentina in the final. To me, there isn't an easier like, answer to that question. They're both going to be difficult games. Um, I think the finals in Poland as well. So um, Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, if I had to flick a coin, I'd probably go with hopefully say Fiorentina. But then you look at they got Moises Kean there, and he was at Everton, United, I think, as well. So he's a good player. He's played well there this season. Um, Real Betis still have Anthony who started his season, his career well there, going on loan from United. So neither is going to be easy. Neither of those games will be easy, and I think that's kind of why I'm a bit wrap the players that we need in cotton wool for the 3 games in the Premier League and that Conference League final if we get to it. Wrap Cucurella, wrap Reece James, Cole Palmer, wrap them in cotton wool. They got to play minutes, I get it, but let's wrap them in cotton wool. Let's give them 45 minutes. Let's give them 30 minutes or so. Let's not be giving them 90 minutes because Cucurella does not need 90 minutes tonight. He does not. He does not. Um, yeah, who do you want in the chat? Let me know what you think in the chat. Who would you want to see us play in the chat? Um, Real Betis will not park the bus, and Fiorentina will park the bus. Again, but then Real Betis not parking the bus is dangerous for us because we're not very good defensively. We don't like being put under pressure, and we can't break down low blocks. So if we get Fiorentina, we this is what I'm saying. Like we have to be dynamic. And I think what you said earlier, Rich, when he makes in the chat, I think it's very crucial because Maresca's changed his tactics. And if you look at that Liverpool game, how quick we were to respond to the ball. In fact, we didn't even have that much possession of the ball in the Liverpool game. I think we had like 36% possession of the ball. They had 74% or something like that. We don't need to hold on to the ball. It's what we do with the ball when we've got it that matters. And if we can defend well, but when we have the ball, we make it. And this is what we've been saying for nearly 2 years now. We don't take the chances. We create them, but we don't take them. Sunday against Liverpool, we got to see that we can create and take the chances, and we played well. And I'll be honest, I'm going to be honest. I think in the final, I'd go with Moises Caicedo as right back. I would go with him as right back because I think when he drops into that midfield, and I mean, Lavia's not in the Conference League squad, so that's a big loss for us. But Moises Caicedo playing in that right back position, I think will help us. I think if we have Reece James there, then I don't know. I'm just not sure. I don't know. Let's see if we can get through tonight first. Let's not jump the gun. I mean, let's not jump the gun. But stranger things have happened. I will not be live streaming. I won't be on this live stream. I will not be podcasting. You will not see my face. I'm not leaving the house. If we do not win convincingly or we get knocked out tonight, you will not see me for the whole of this month at all. That's how confident I am that we are not going to lose this game. We can't lose it. We can't be 4-1 up. But this is Chelsea and it's Maresca's Chelsea. And if I'm being honest, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Um, Not confident at all. Not confident. But I am still sticking with my 3-0. Very much like rich money makers in the chat. 3-0. I agree. I agree with that. I think it's yeah, it's either gonna go one or two ways, isn't it? We're either gonna win 3-0 or they'll make it really scrappy where we can't break them down. The biggest win for us will be that we actually come off the pitch with that no one gets injured. I'd take a 1-0 if everyone comes off the pitch without an injury. Yeah, that for me, Sunday's the biggest game for us. Then obviously we have next Friday, I think we play United, and then we have Forest after that. But those 3 games are bigger than anything. They're bigger than here's a question for everyone who's on the live stream actually. What's more important for you this season? Is it winning this Conference League or getting in the Champions League? Because for me, getting in that Champions League means a lot more than winning this trophy. Yes, it's great to have a trophy. It's good to see, you've won the Conference League. But if it means sacrificing Champions League to win that Conference League, it can piss off because no one's going to remember the Conference League in 10 years. We only want to win it because we're in it. If we weren't, do you know what I mean? If we weren't in it, no one would give a shit that we weren't in it. So we need to be we need to be playing at the top. If Arsenal can get to a semi-final in the way that they did, and we recruit well in the summer, and by recruit I don't mean bring in a bunch of kids again. I mean actually recruit, bring in experienced players, bring in someone that's played at the top level. I'm still talking like a Victor Gyökeres or someone of that level. I'm talking someone who's prolific, who's played at the Champions League level, dominated their domestic league. If we can bring someone in like that, we can bring in. Now it looks like it's going to be Petrovic in goal for us next season. But if we can bring in one or two key players, not loads, just one or two key ones, experienced players, there's nothing to say we can't go on a good run next season because the fundamentals of the squad, the dynamics of the squad, the foundations are all there in this squad. And we've got players that we've already signed that have, the Andre Santos, the Sugos, Kenji Payers. They're all ready to come into the squad. Estevao, they've all got to come in. So for me, that we've got that many players. There's a lot that we need to do in the summer in terms of getting rid of certain players, maybe like Keenan Dewsbury Hall, Sancho. For me, I'd pay the 5 million and send him back to United. Um, Badia Shield potentially might go. I read today that Axel Disasi is not going to be signed by Villa, so he'll be back at the club in the summer. So there's loads that are going on. So yeah, we just need to get through tonight, win the game convincingly, and yeah, we just need to turn up tonight and then turn up for the next three Premier League games and go into this final. If we make it, regardless if it's Fiorentina or Real Betis, we just need to win it. And then we've had actually a better season. If we're being honest, we've had a better season than Arsenal. Because Arsenal might not even finish second as well. Imagine we overtake Arsenal in the league, win the Conference League, and we qualify for the Champions League. I mean, you couldn't make it up, could you? But if you're here, appreciate you that you've been part of the live stream. Don't forget, if you haven't already, we're on the road to 800 subscribers. So if you haven't already done so, smash the subscribe button. Leave your thoughts in the comments if you're here afterwards as well. And we are gonna do the match review after the game as well. So make sure you get your notification bells on for all of that good stuff. But we'll be back soon. Let's hope for a good result tonight and the road to the final starts.